Welcome to Larry's Topics. I know. You're wondering, 2 in 1 day? Wow, we must be our lucky day. Unless you don't watch, then I'm sorry. Um, this topic, I cover. Like I said, I'll cover a lot of things, but I won't cover relationships. I won't help you find a girl. I won't help you find a guy. I won't discuss politics. I think I might have said that already. And I won't discuss religion. But I realized I never really talk about, you know, the paranormal. And it sucks because I've encountered a lot of creepy stuff and some stuff that would really scare the crap out of people. But, you know, it's always at a point where I'm not expecting it. So it happens so fast I can't grab my phone and record it because I'm in somewhat, it takes me by surprise so much I don't even think of recording it or pulling out my phone and recording it because then I could post that crap online, right here on the channel. But, I never, had that opportunity because I'm pretty sure I'd get some interesting comments on that and lots of views. But I can tell you about some of them. I was working for I was working for this company and it was cleaning a factory. And in that factory, the land itself that the factory was sitting on was originally, for over 250 years, it was farmland and it was belonged to this family, and in over 250 years, you can count there were some deaths. And other stuff happened around there too. So while working at this company, working for the company I worked for, cleaning this factory and office spaces, I saw some weird stuff and I encountered some really weird stuff. Like, there was some girls, they'd been working there like 2 weeks, and one of the main things I encountered a lot of were doppelgangers. And when I mean a lot of, at least 5, 6 doppelgangers. Some of them were the same ones, but I don't know if you consider them. Well, all right, 6 doppelganger encounters, maybe each being of 2 of them being of the same person each time, and I've seen some other weird stuff. And one of these doppelgangers was, these girls had been working there with me like 2-3 weeks, and it was really messed up because they had already headed over to the last building before me, which they were supposed to do they did by themselves, so I was done and I was waiting for them to finish up so I could lock up everything and punch out, lock up, and leave for the night. Well, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and I see the way the office was set up in the last building that we'd cleaned, the bathrooms and the supply room where our janitorial supplies were and all that was literally in the center of this building, right? They were all this centered square, and I'm sitting there waiting for them, and one of the taller sister, I'm sitting there in this chair in the cubicle across from the supply room, and she comes from around the corner behind me, and she's moving like really fast for a person, and she zipped around the corner. She went into the supply room real fast. She zipped out of the supply room, went down and went around the other corner real fast. And there was a guy working there that I talked to too, and he was on the backside of it, of the square, and and she zipped past his office. So me and this guy seen her, and we got up, and I got up. I got sick of sitting there, so I went and talked to him because he was working late. And I was like, man, did you see how fast she was moving? And he had said her name, and I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, she shot by here. I was surprised at how fast she was moving. She looked like she was in a hurry to get out of here and get done. I was like, apparently so. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and we're talking and that, and I went back and sat back down, and I waited, and about 25 minutes go by, and I was like, what the heck? Where are they? They should be done by now, at least, you know? So I got up, and I was like, did you see her again? And he's like, no, I haven't seen her. I was like, well, I'm going to check down here, and then I'm going to go upstairs and check. Because there's two levels to this building of office spaces and cubicles. I checked the whole downstairs. Just me and him were downstairs. So I went upstairs. Checked all the upstairs. Nobody was there. I got irritated and thought they must have got done and apparently went out the back door because they didn't go out the front door. So I was irritated. I punched out. He was leaving the same time I was, and I was like, don't you just hate that? And he's like, yeah, he's like, what's that? I was like, people just leaving. He's like, oh yeah, I'd hate that too. Well, I took and we left, came back the next day, and I was like, why'd you guys leave without telling me you were leaving? Like, what do you mean? I was like, I saw, and I said, I saw you, and I didn't see your sister, but you zipped around and you left. I was like, I sat there for like 25 minutes, and they're like, we were gone before you even got to the building. And I was like, what are you talking about? You were gone. I was like, you couldn't leave a note? And they're like, yeah, we left you a note. It's right on our time card, and I was so upset I didn't look. Well, I go in, I unlock the cabinet, and right there, on the time card, there's a post-it note saying, see you tomorrow, have a nice night. And I was with a smiley face. I was like, okay, and I checked the time that they punched out, and they had punched out 25 minutes before I had punched out. And I was like, what the heck? Who did I see? And the guy I talked to the night before, he was working late again that night. And I was talking to him, and I was like, dude, we saw a doppelganger. And he's like, what's that? And I explained to him what it is. It's an entity that resembles somebody else to a T. I said, but it was weird because me and him both noticed the girl never had her bangs drooped down in front of her face, but this one did. Her hair was the same style, same clothes and that, but her bangs were down in front of her face so you could, barely see her face as she's zipping around in that. He's like, yeah, I noticed that too. And I was like, it's got to be a doppelganger. Well, some time went by. They had left the company, and my wife joined the company and was working with me, and I was upstairs and she was downstairs, and we were cleaning, and she come walking by and she went into the upstairs supply room, came out and went around, but she was moving pretty fast too, and I'm standing there, and I was like, okay, where'd she go? I looked around, and she wasn't up there. And I had finished up, locked up what needed to be locked up, and I shut off the lights, and I went downstairs, and there she was, finishing up, and I was like, were you just upstairs a little bit ago? And she's like, no, I've been down here the whole time. Why? And I was like, well, I saw you. It was you wearing exactly what you're wearing now, and you were moving actually pretty fast. And she's like, no, it wasn't me. I was like, wow, that is creepy. It was you. I swear to God, it was you. It was wearing exactly the same thing you're wearing now. You came around the corner. You went into the supply room. You came out. You went around the corner to the other side. And then I didn't see you again. She's like, no, it wasn't me. I've been down here the whole time. I was like, oh my God, another doppelganger. And it was crazy because her bangs were down in front of her face too. So you could barely see her face. But it was her. And it was crazy because the other girl had long, straight hair. And my wife, she has an afro pretty much. Carrot top on steroids. Poof. So that didn't make sense. Well, I had other experiences in that office too. She wasn't even in the building, and I heard her. I was in the upper part, and I heard her voice say my name. Come here, and I walked. I was like, what? And then no answer. And I was like, well, what the heck? Because the upstairs part has a railing that looks down to the registration desk below, which is in front of the building. So, you could see the lobby and registration, and she was nowhere around. And I got down upstairs, and I came downstairs, and as I got downstairs, she come through the back door. And I was like, what'd you want? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, how long have you been here? She's like, I just got here. I was like, you're kidding me. She's like, no. Why? And I told her, I was like, I heard your voice call my name. And it happened like 3-4 different times. It was nuts. I was collecting trash upstairs in an office out of a cubicle, and I saw this very, very pretty girl with long black hair, straight. She was wearing a white, those over sweaters. They're made out of cotton instead of wool, so they don't, so they don't itch your skin, And she was wearing that, and she had on a black tank, I'm assuming tank top or spaghetti strap shirt, whatever, underneath. She was wearing a black and gray and white plaited skirt, and she was wearing black dress shoes and black nylons, and she was holding a pile of papers in her hand, and she was flipping through them, and I thought she was working, and she come walking towards me. I bent down to pick up the garbage. I stood back up, and she was gone. And I had talked to people that had worked upstairs that I had talked to, and they said, no, there's nobody here that fits that description. And I was like, you're kidding. And they're like, no, we never had anyone here recently with that fits that description. And then I had heard talk to someone else, and she had a girl fitting that description had apparently died a while back, not on the premises, but she had died in a car accident. I encountered a lot of weird things in that place. Equipment going off, lights turning on without being plugged in, you name it. Lights in break rooms being on, lights to bathrooms being on, and nobody being in the building. All this is, I'm like the only person in the building, and I'm experiencing all these things. There's nobody around, and it's one of their dead nights where no one's around because nobody's working that night. And I'm just like, what the hell? And it just was really freaky. I've heard grinders, hand grinders here, and you go and you look, and the wheel for the grinder is spinning with sandpaper on it, and you look down, you follow the cord, and it's not plugged in anywhere. It was a lot of stuff like that, and at the time, I wish I had had a phone to record it, and I didn't. If you like this video, I have other strange encounters I could talk about, but I'll let you guys decide, or I just might post it anyway because I really haven't gotten any suggestions or comments for a topic. So, thank you. Good night.